my life and how I am still working to turn it around. It's coming up to the anniversary of me returning to live in Sheffield, Wednesday the 15th of February, day after Valentine's Day. I returned to Sheffield. I was born in Worcestershire and came to Sheffield the first time to go to college in October 1989. I graduated in 92, secured a career within recruitment based in several locations in West and North Yorkshire. So that took me away from Sheffield. It did call me home though when I made a decision at 7 o'clock on the 15th of February to come home. You see, I was on the run with my 19-month-old daughter. You see, on the 14th of February, I had calmly told my ex-husband that I wanted a divorce. And, okay, it wasn't the most romantic thing I could have done in hindsight, but it just happened to be that day. But things needed to be said. He cried, he pleaded, and then he seemed to give in to my pleas and he calmed down. But it was 4 o'clock and I realised that he hadn't come to bed, and it was then that I discovered that he'd attempted suicide. Lay on the settee, eyes rolling back in his head, vomit all over my cream carpet. There was an empty box of tramadol and an even emptier bottle of vodka just by his side. I went to the landline, called the ambulance, but as I got through to the 999 responder, he suddenly sprung from the settee, knocking me across the room. There was 10 minutes of struggle, and then 6 massive policemen entered my cottage. The responder call had been listened to and the 6 policemen dispatched. They then put him into an ambulance. My 19-month-old daughter slept soundly through this commotion. She still sleeps soundly through any commotion that happens in our household as well. I was living my life with a wife beater. This fact was hidden from everyone. No one knew anything, even my close family. To the world outside, we were the perfect little family, hard-working, bringing up a beautiful little girl. During that 7 years I was with him, he did have very violent outbursts. I'd been hospitalised 4 times, and I told more stories than Jack and Ori. To cover bruises, cuts and black eyes. I was never going to admit that I had a problem with my marriage, and that my husband was possessively damaging me mentally and physically. Exactly as my dad had done to my mum 30 years earlier. Police rang me at 6 o'clock on that morning of the 15th of February to let me know that my ex-husband was now in hospital and he would be free to leave once they had flushed his system of booze and pills. They weren't sectioning him because he said he was alright and he just wanted to come home. The police were warning me to leave my property. They advised me not to be there when he got home and suggested women's aid to me, a refuge to keep me and my daughter safe. I frantically rang the central number and they immediately offered me shelter in either Leeds, Huddersfield or Sheffield. Churchill. I was coming home. I rang my employers, a national corporate, FTSE 100, so thankfully they've got an office everywhere. I told them the situation and thankfully my regional director did say, wherever you land, there's a job for you. So I packed the car with everything that my daughter owned. Little hold all for me, and we left the village. I arrived in Sheffield and located the shelter. One up near the back of Meadowhall. Shabby building, very nondescript, obviously no signage or anything like that, but surprisingly modern facilities inside. I was offered a ground floor room, Billy bonus, and it was en suite, and my daughter and I stayed there for 10 nights. It was clean, made sure we ate properly, and my daughter had everything that she owned, so nothing really changed for her. On the 11th day there, one of my old university friends I'd contacted and they came to see me. and they offered us a house share until the legalities of selling the house were sorted. So to cut a very long story short, I went back to work. I got an injunction against my ex-husband, who'd taken to threatening me as he tracked me through my mobile phone records in Sheffield. Secured a nursery place for a daughter, sold my cottage from underneath my ex-husband, divorced him, got all my possessions back, purchased a new home, started again. I never set eyes on him again. I've since remarried. I have my son. Finished my corporate career due to ill health, and as you know, I've been self-employed since 2009. I love the fact that I now wake up every morning knowing that it is me who determines what happens to me and my kids. Okay, perhaps I'm now a bit of a control freak. Better that than being a victim now. And that's the bit I'm still on. So, when you do reach the depths of despair, is it then that you click at the button and the only way is up? Do we only get the strength to handle this stuff when we've reached the bottom of what we can handle? Do we put up with stuff that isn't too bad, moan about it but not do anything about it, change it because until it gets too bad? Should we let it get that far? Should we take action sooner? Or should we be planning, reviewing and doing on a consistent basis? In 2013, I'm just going to follow up from what Paul was saying earlier, I did a fire walk. I can't walk, I did a fire walk. And I did that for Sheffield Children's. And we raised £4,000. This year, I want to do a zip wire. And I want to do that for the charity Live, Love, Laugh. And they provide buddy bags for kids in refuges and shelters who've arrived there without this stuff. It's a brilliant charity, and they're aiming to buy 20,000 of these bags, which cost about 25 quid. They've got like all the toiletries in and a teddy and crayons and all that type of stuff. It's something for the little ones to call their own. So Kate was lucky, she had everything, but there's kids who don't. I had 20 minutes to grab everything that she owned, but some girls don't. So, I'll be doing this zip wire in May. I've not booked anything yet, but I will be doing it in May. And I've set myself a target to raise £5. Who else is doing it with me? And that's my 4Sight for today.
It's a wonderful little presentation from Wendy about how she went really low and came back. Say hi to the guys behind us. Fantastic.